Hey, welcome everybody to Battle Pirates Crib. I hope everybody had a good week. Right now, the game is shut down because Kickside did not want to interrupt with the show. Probably some other reasons, but that's what I'm going for. Is there, it's a sign of respect. So let me go ahead and introduce everybody from left to right. On your YouTube screen, Grimace,
What's up, everybody?
Father George,
Evening, everybody.
Padre Prince,
Good morning, pirates.
and this is Hefe. Grimace, you want to stoke up the slides, and I will select on you. Yeah.
Sounds like a protest.
Yes. Yep. I'm assuming they're going to put up new gold offers with the new update. They seem to be popping out quite frequently at this point in time.
I guess it would help if I shared, huh?
If any of them were good, they may actually entice people to buy them.
Yeah, well, they put the best one out. The $5 one is actually the best value. So,
even though it's 30 coins less than what we used to get for the same deal.
Yeah. I remember one time you could spend $100 and you'd get like $100 a coin free. I think they did that one time. I would be tempted.
Okay.
Even in current state.
Okay, that's while we're waiting for the update to complete, we're going to talk about bounty, and we're going to do a little quirky thing on the well, not necessarily quirky, but explaining the state of the PvP game yet once again. I know that half of the panel did not participate or protested the bounty.
Not protest. Well, yeah, protest. I'm sorry. Never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm so I'm trigger happy now because everyone's using the wrong damn words.
Yeah, because it's not what we did. We actually did participate in bounty in some way. We held all the golden nexuses, except for one. So I wouldn't say that we weren't a part of bounty. I'd say, we pretty much ruled bounty, at least in alpha. We played the game.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to explain any further on that, and then because I know that Grimace and I participated in a different manner than we did previously, as far as at least I did, because I didn't have all the tech that made it pretty much no brainer on how you conducted this. But
I kind of want to hear what were your thoughts in doing the bounty? How was it? Did you find it enjoyable?
I found it. I didn't like the part where I felt there was a strategy. They made the change in the game where anybody with unsecured bounty could be hit by anybody that was part of bounty, and I thought that was great for higher level players that had invincible bases, because it allowed them to go around, pick around, find people that did not have the full set of technology on their turrets. And then there was another group, those people with the full set of technology. And then there was another group that never really wanted to participate in bounty and are of very low levels. And it allowed those players to achieve around 17,000 bounty points by merely logging in every 6 to 12 hours, claiming the 800 bounty points that came from just participating in there, and then immediately locking those bounty points away and not being worth anything to anybody. The people in between, I think it was a little bit more difficult to figure out the right strategy on how to do this. Because once you achieved a certain level, you became a target. And previously, if you sort of lagged behind the higher end players, there was a good chance that, if you played it right according to the time of day, you could sort of get a feeling like, how many points can I have and not be a target for everybody, especially the players that would have the top of the line ships. I think that part was removed because they could hit you as easy as, no matter who it was. If somebody had 150,000 bounty, could hit a player with 15,000 bounty. It just seemed to throw off a strategy portion of the game, especially considering how imbalanced PvP is as it relates to the level of tier 7 turrets that you have installed in your base.
Did you feel like it was a good representation of a player versus player event?
All right. No, it was because it was basically, for those players, it was actually clubbing baby replicas. You didn't want to go and hit the 100s because they were going to kill you right away, or at least most of them would. And so you were forced to hit either lower level bases, lower level bases that did not have the technology, and sometimes they're higher level bases. Sometimes they're in the hundreds that don't have all of the technology available to them. But you were safer hitting an 80 or a 90, and either way, replica or non-replica, actual player bases. It just showcased how broken the PvP portion of the game is at this point, in my mind.
Can I chime in?
Sure, go ahead.
So I feel like this bounty was super dependent on where you are in the game, about like how you felt about the event. I personally thought it was a garbage event. I was bored out of my mind, but I used that to catch up on some things that I missed out on previously. It was a total PvE event for me. Where I was, there were literally no bases around me that would ever show up on the locator. So I was going to have to go and search through the leaderboard and do all that. Way too much work. I just went and basically autoed the replica bases that I knew I could get into. I do have the benefit of having all of the tech for my base defense. So I wasn't really worried about my base. I would just go to 10,000 points, automatically bank, and just keep rolling. I didn't play the whole time either. Like I could have gotten every little thing, but I didn't play the first day at all because I really wasn't even going to do it. And then I finally was like, screw it, I'll do it. But I talked to a lot of people that don't play PvP hardly at all loved it because it was so easy for them to get points and to just get something. And they felt like it was just an amazing event. Even if they were being hit, like they were still getting points. So most people that I talked to, that don't PvP a lot, they just were ecstatic over how easy it was, which I think that's totally wrong way of doing the event. Like it shouldn't be like that. Those people shouldn't have even been really doing it. And I know that's not like a popular opinion with a lot of people, but like there are just some things, if you're not at that level yet, you shouldn't be attempting to do because you're not there.
I gotta disagree slightly disagree with you a little bit on that, because bounty is how most of this technology, the PvP technology, is released. So if somebody's trying to get into PvP,
but it's always in the raid.
Eventually, I mean, it's already used up and done by the time it ends up in the raid. So,
oh, come on,
like right. Well, I mean,
not lately.
Well, okay. We'll get into that as far as the offense.
It depends on what level of bases and what type of people you're hitting, and in these people that still don't have those holes, they're not probably going to be going to hit the top bases. They're hitting somewhere below that. And they're hitting bases that they can still get into, especially if they're just starting to learn PvP.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think bounty's an event for everybody. Unfortunately, I just don't think it is. It's kind of like the raids. Like, if you can't do FMs at all, why are you going to be doing the raids? There's no real point.
Well, bounty in and of itself is supposed to be a PvP event.
Right?
Now,
And it's not.
Part of the issue is that they have the hitting down to level 50 is just atrocious at this point. That's got to stop. They've got to change something, and they got to change the way bases are ranked, though, like, the levels of bases too. I mean, that's been so long overdue. I mean, holy crap.
Well, again, I don't think it's the level of the base, because you could be a level. I was hitting some of the replica bases that were in like the 70s.
That's why I just said that something has to be done about that as well.
That had all the turrets and stuff. I mean, it was wacky.
All right, that's why I just said they have to do something about the way they have the levels on the bases as well. Like, you got to do something like either, tech based or something. I mean, something. I mean, they have tier levels on the tech. I mean, you can just do a mathematical equation, add them all up, see what the total is, divide by X number, and there's your level.
Yeah, I agree.
But do you trust them to do that?
No.
I mean, at this point, we're already out, man. I mean, it's something's got to give somewhere. I mean, at least they can try, right?
Yeah, it's something that we'd really need to test and think about, because they've managed to misrepresent their own technology to us and not appear to understand a lot of the issues that are ongoing. I agree something needs to be done, but the current methodology to get these changes to us has not worked well. I mean, we'll go through the next, not yet, but the next slide we're going to talk about, how an 85 can keep Padre out of their base, and it's very possible. And we have a series of slides on that. I do hear that the updates are out at this point. I think we'll wait a couple minutes, run through 2 or 3 more slides, because I don't see anything earth-shaking in here at this point in time that we need to get to right away. So I think some of the discussions of bounty and the PvP mechanic and balance at this point in time is probably more interesting than what's going on in the update.
Nobody's mentioned that you could secure at any point in time for your bounty up to what? I don't even remember. 5 times, 10 times a day? I don't know.
It was 5 times a day. It was 5 times the first day, 4 for the next 2 days, and 3 times for the last day.
Which I think was total BS. But there were some reports that even with people attacking, if you banked while they were hitting you and they still flattened you, they still got their points too.
Yeah, no, that was a glitch, I'm pretty sure. So that's something that they would probably address moving forward, because there was abuse of that in certain alliances. People dropping tag like right before they secured so that people could get more from flattening said base. But yeah, I think that is a mechanic that definitely needs revamping. If I'm going to play an event where I hit somebody and they're able to secure on me while I'm hitting them, that sort of takes a lot of the incentive out of hitting bases, because I'm going to lose my fleet for half or none of the resources that I should have gotten.
Well, and with that whole mechanic, what happens if you're trying to do a prep on a base and you come out and then they bank?
I feel like there should be, if you get hit, there should be like a 3-minute cooldown or a 2-minute cooldown on your bank timer. You can't bank. So if somebody's in there hitting you and actively trying to prep, I mean, hey, that's more coins for Kixeye, and it doesn't take the fun out of it for the people that are hitting. Now, again, that's the top end, but with people being able to secure every 10,000 points, it's really not going to be that big of a deal. I've taken 30K from or 24K from somebody before, and they went out and grinded again and got all those points back in the 4 hours that they had the bubble. So I think that 10K is a very obtainable goal for almost any player hitting replica bases.
Speaking of the bubbles, wasn't there like an issue where they were only instead of a 4 hour, people were only getting a 2 hour bubble?
I don't know. No one hit me.
I know last time I wasn't getting bubbles for the last day.
Yeah, I think that's one of the bug fixes. Is fix an issue where bounty defenders were not getting a bubble in certain situations. So yeah, that was an issue. It seems that people were supposed to get the full 4 hour bubble, and we're only getting 2. But I don't know if there's any specifics as far as when this was happening, when this was not happening. So. Hello?
Yep. Still here.
Okay. Any more thoughts on bounty?
From our side, the protest side, I was pretty happy. We had some players that really wanted to go get the tech, and they made their decision to go and get the tech. So, we had a few players that are lost out of the alliance. All in all, the majority of SDS7 held pretty firm and fast and did not do the bounty because we had a few accidental starts. That button's well placed. But I was pretty happy overall with the result. We had a lot of other players that came in, not necessarily whole alliances, although there were a few, and supported in that way by not even activating the bounty because we're protesting how broken the game is as far as balance, and B, the fact that you guys are offering, when I say you guys, I say Kicks, I'm talking to them directly. They're offering an event that's supposed to be geared around hitting bases, which, for most of the people that I know, that's the more fun aspect of the game, as opposed to these campaigns or new dubs that are coming out. Why would we participate in an event that's geared towards that isn't that they've changed so completely and nerfed so poorly or so exquisitely, I guess, that it's not even the event that it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it definitely was not a PvP event.
I mean, I don't know. I'm really kind of surprised that everyone held and stuck to their guns. That was actually pretty damn impressive. So
yeah, there were a lot of detractors, and there were a few rogue elements even inside of our group that were doing some things that I had asked not be done. But I think that was a personal thing between that individual and who he was messing with. But for the most part, we didn't snipe in alpha. We didn't kill people's fleets that were out doing the replica bases. The only thing we did was hold the golden nexuses, which honestly, if we were playing, no one would have got those golden nexuses anyway. So it's really no detriment or any different than if we were playing and as if we weren't playing.
And it was the only real PvP that you could do. And honestly, it's a PvP part in a PvP event. So yeah, you can always come and take the Nexus. I mean, if like PNLS or somebody was there, I'm sure they would have been able to grab a Nexus or two and hold it, So it's not, I don't know what the big deal with that one was at all.
Yeah, I did find it amusing that, in the Facebook page, some of the Facebook pages, somewhere people were quite angry about that. And I'm like, why do they care if you were getting something out of it or not?
Yeah.
Like Padre said, if you were actually participating, you would have done the same thing.
Yeah, we would have held them anyway. I mean, people got really upset with that. People were like, "Oh, well, you're forcing someone to play, the way that you want them to play." And I'm like, "Well, that position is essentially the same thing. You're saying that we can't play the way that we want to play then. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's like when people snipe during raids. I mean, people bitch about it, but it's part of the game. Well, shit, this is a PvP event. It's part of the game.
I think one of the arguments I saw a few times was they were saying if you were boycotting and then you were hitting their nexuses and which made a battle go on, then the other side was probably coining. So you were getting people to coin.
I did not see a single mega get coined.
Yep.
Well, I don't know about a mega. I took it more as they were talking about the defense fleets, other conqueror fleets.
I mean, the fleets were in the battle, but it wasn't.
We weren't repairing those either.
Yeah, we on our side, we were not repairing the fleets. If my fleet took enough damage, I sent it home and I repaired it and brought out something different. Very rarely did enough did an alliance amount enough of an attack to where they had, they pretty much knew they were beat by the time the first mega battle was over and they went home. Very rarely did I see anyone coining their fleet. So, they can say, oh, you're just generating more money for Kixeye that way. But I bet you most of the detractors that were posting that weren't even in alpha to see what was going on. But, they're entitled to their opinion. I respect that. At the same time, I disagree with it. Because that's not what was happening. I guarantee you less coin was spent this time than in previous times. And I know for sure in my alliance.
And actually that brings up a point too, that because I've seen a lot of people like, oh well, you could have started and not coined. And here's the catch. Historically speaking, when Kixeye sees an event go down and the coining drops, the next event is harder. I mean, they came out and flat out told us they made the last raid that difficult because the raid set before was too easy, right? Which means not enough coining. So if you started Bounty and played significantly and didn't coin, you just made it harder for the rest of the community. Whereas if you are playing the game but are not participating in Bounty and they see the number of participants drop or the significant players in that event drop out or not play, they're going to go, what's going on?
Guarantee you there's a metric for that.
Yeah,
I mean, I know a lot of people, because I was getting a lot of people going, why didn't you guys just start so you could at least get the prizes and not be behind? Because you're always, once you're behind, you're always behind, and if you start and don't coin, you're using up their server space and blah blah blah. Well, the problem is this. Sure, I'd use up their server space, which I did anyway, but if I use up their server space for a particular event and they're not making money on that event, what do you think as a business? As a business, what would you do?
I'd augment
What would be
the event.
That's right. I would do something where I would be able to make a profit on the event, not lose money. So that's just something I want people to keep in mind. You don't have to agree. I just think everybody should just keep that in mind.
Yeah, it did seem, with the number of continuous gold offers that we've gotten recently, I think is somewhat unprecedented. They seem to just keep on. They had the full gambit of gold offers come out 2 days ago, and then they offered 3 more of the $5 ones. They've been them stacking gold offers on top of gold offers. I don't recall that anytime recently.
I only remember one time when they did back-to-back gold offers, and this one is what, 3 now in a row?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's several. Yeah, it's the back-to-back-to-back. Yeah, it's sort of unprecedented. So it's something had an impact on the way they feel about how much gold they got out of that event. So,
and another thing that I'd like to address, because again, there are a lot of detractors from what
Did you
we
say
did.
undress or address?
Either way, it
Oh,
depends
okay.
on how you like it. But I got a lot of people saying that we didn't address the right players, or we didn't have the community's interest at mind in doing this. I think that's total I think that's totally wrong. A lot of the changes that we want to propose, yes, we want balance to the game so we can hit, because that's what, my alliance and the people that I play with, that's what we like to do. But there's other aims here to get Kixeye to actually communicate with their players in a more broad scope, and take in some ideas such as tech being hoarded by Kixeye. There's no reason for them to hoard the tech like they do. They release it, and then sometimes it's years before you see it again. Even critical pieces of tech. I mean, when the mortars were kicking butt, we had people in my alliance that didn't even have air fuel munitions too, and it took them forever to re-release that particular piece of tech. I feel like there should be a point at which all of this tech is put into either not necessarily researchable, although that's fine for like really old stuff, just to get the lower players up and running faster. I think that
Mhm.
category should be expanded, but I think after 4 to 6 months, this stuff should just be in the FM or in the raid every time, in the exogenous or extra prizes. It should just be included in there so that lower players can speed up what they're doing and become competitive faster and have a better game experience and stick around longer, in order to play the game. Returning players can get the tech and not wait a year to get critical pieces that they need in order to have a good time in the game again, just because they left for a few months. Um,
Gosh, this sounds familiar.
you know,
Mhm.
I'm
You
just
got to
saying.
go
I'm
back and
sure
watch
that
some old shows, man. Like you'll
I,
see us
I
just going
wish to
off on
God that
this.
they would do that. So, I mean, that was also part of the aim, is to get Kixeye to listen and be able to make reasonable suggestions such as that to them. So people that think that, we're only thinking of ourselves, oh, only the coiners matter. That's not true. I want I want there to be a lot more good bases, a lot more competitive players, so I can smash them too. Um, I don't, you hit the same people over and over and over and over again, and the game starts to lose its thrill. But it's nice to see. I'm sure there's a ton of creative, smaller players that could come up, and if they had the tech, could build stuff that is, that I'm like, wow, that was a really clever idea. And I'd like to see more of that in the game. I'd like to be less limited by tech constraints at lower players, returning players. Uh, I'd honestly like to be less constrained by outdated hulls as well. I think that that we've got tier 7 hulls. If you're going to release a tier 7 group, I think the whole group should remain viable in some way throughout the whole tier 7 release process. You shouldn't just release a hull and now what people have. Well, right now you have no hulls to hit with, but for the most part, it's like you got to get the flavor of the month in order to remain competitive. I think that new hulls should open up different aspects of the game, but not necessarily shut down the older tech completely, because that just makes for a boring game environment.
Agreed.
Have you guys seen my Mort splash fleet with X tank? That's all you can really see right now. You don't see a lot of creative builds. Um,
It's very binary. I've been
yeah,
saying this
it's
for a
sort of the
while.
same couple of fleets.
PvP has become very binary, even when we didn't have the broken turrets and everything. I mean, and that's a secondary issue that I don't even know that's being discussed yet. I mean, I've brought it up several times, and I don't even know if people understand what I mean by that. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, I have recently brought up adding more stuff to the FM because it's been like my little thing for the last, I don't know, ever since I've gotten onto shows, that I want to see more stuff available to players, like
It's
quicker, sooner. It's got to be in the game.
it's idiotic not to, honestly.
I mean, when was the last time we saw the D33R? I'm just
Which
saying, like
one's that?
that's the impact cannon that gives 3% resistance to ballistic
Oh, yeah, yeah.
penetrative, and I mean, I've used that in the past on builds, and people freak the hell out because no one has it, because it's an old ass print that's never come out again, and that should never happen. Like, if something's that old, it's got to be somewhere that you can get. There's got to be accessibility. So Hopefully they're. I mean, hopefully they'll. I mean, if the ball's rolling, I just don't know where it's going to roll to. That's the. That's always the question.
Yep, I agree. There definitely needs to be some changes, and Kickside definitely needs to communicate with their player base better. I they have an amazing resource with all the players in the game. I don't know if it's being fully utilized at this point. Um, I mean, I know they contact some players, but I don't know if I feel like it could be used a lot more than what they're actually doing. So, all right, yeah, that's enough yammering about nonsense. But care about everybody except for you, George.
Oh damn!
Did we lose Hefe again?
Probably.
Do you guys want to move on to the next thing?
Hell yeah, go to it.
Let's go to the next one. He's probably jacked up on that Benadryl.
I'm here.
There
I
he
wanted,
is.
yeah,
Wow.
yes. Um, I just wanted to show, Padre Prince is historically haven't you been able to get into a
Historically, has
fair
been a
number of
pain in
bases?
the ass.
Yeah, and been able to get into a fair number of bases.
One or
I'm
two.
just going to sort of, what?
One or two only, but
Yeah, one or two. Sometimes you're number one on the medal list. Quite a bit of the time, and I wanted to explain how a level 85 that made good decisions could keep you out of their base,
easily.
and it's fairly easy at this point. Yeah. Um, I put on the left hand side, I put an executioner 2, equipped in this manner, which I think is a little over 1,000,000 base points, but we'll get into that later. It's the 1,000,000 base points of the executioner and those specials. If you get them right, you'll see it's somewhere over 1,000,000. Um, Combined with 2 vulture missiles, which have a use. They're not great because of the range, but they definitely have their use in the game. And then 2 halos. Personally, is anybody using the halos for anything but their bubble pad?
Or on my front gate. Yep.
I
How,
have.
Yeah.
how can you use them for anything else?
I actually have them placed in odd places to. They've actually caught a couple of sloths.
Okay.
Just randomly, which was funny, but no, they're just built for the buffs.
Okay. And then 5 warehouses or labs or however you want to do it with fire support 2, and then the penetrative faction. And that's one of the things that we're going to talk about. We're also going to talk about the ballistic, but right now, if you have one to concentrate on, and we'll show this later, I would concentrate on the penetrative at this point in time. Strategically, if you can do it, get 5 of your executioner 2s within the range, or I'm sorry, all 4 or as many as you can of the executioner 2s equipped in that manner within the range of 5 fire support 2s. There's some people out there that have posted how to do this. It's not that difficult. You can also put on your outpost and get the reload bonus. You can get a reload bonus associated with the warehouses or the outposts. But the big important part is the damage. And you can fit them on labs. There's enough weight there to get the fire support 2 up. And this is really all you need. You want to make sure that all your executioners aren't pinchable in one spot. You want to be smart about the placement, and you want to have a decently long channel, but it doesn't need to be incredibly long. And let's go to the next slide. Let's see how different ships would deal with this. All right, this is Yes, this is a missile storm cruiser equipped with 2 of the new MC2s, 2 MC1s, and the was it D6U. This is fairly conservative, sort of, and also has the assault battery on it. It's a fairly conservative build. The next build, which we don't want to see yet, has all MC plates, which leaves it very vulnerable to other things. I should have put the rockets that go with this on the slide. I forgot to do that. I'm rushing around, but basically, this is
Dead.
This is going to cover, in theory, would cover a lot of ballistic, penetrative, and explosive. And if you look on the top, you'll see that if you have everything that we prescribed earlier, this is the Howie. You're doing per shot. You're doing a critical damage shot, and it fires every 0.5 seconds at least, depending on where it's placed. You're doing about quarter health to this version. And then you're doing about a fifth of the health with the missile version. I'm sorry, did somebody have anything you wanted to?
No, that fleet's dead for either of the group, or that ship won't make it into base on either group. But the missile will definitely kill it. The Howies will definitely kill it.
And just so we're clear too, right? Like these actually can be stopped with the slow down death by 1,000 cuts as well. So now you're like, hey, you have 2 ways to kill this hull. You're not making it down channels. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the next slide, like I described, we've gone to a more extreme thing where we've gotten rid of the corrosive and the radioactive and the what's the other one I'm missing? Corrosive, penetrative, and concussive. We've gotten rid of all of that on this hull. And still look at the damage that it's taking. I mean, it's going to probably die. We got about a quarter health again, and we got somewhere, about a quarter and a fifth. It's still going to die within seconds when exposed to a properly supported Howie or executioner. So,
Howie for sure.
Where is this?
Howie's the quickest way to kill that. So, yeah, that hull is basically inadequate for hitting bases as well.
Mm-hmm. Is there a build or at least as far as a armor combination or a build that you think would do armor combination that would do better?
There is not an armor combination, but you've got to think outside of armors at this point, because that's pretty much the max you're going to get out of armors for the 2 big damage doers. There are some weapon slots there that you could add to it, and you can add night watches. 7 of them, they give what, 50k each, so you can get that 460 down to about 200k. That's the minimum you can get, and that's with the missile faction. Don't take that base, or don't take that in a base that's ballistic faction, because it will be eaten no matter what. It doesn't, because the Night Watch doesn't provide any ballistic defense. But as far as the missile, you can, I think you can take about 20, 25 missile shots if you put Night Watches on there.
Okay.
So that's the best I've found. And then you're still relegated.
Does it still get into a base though?
You would have to use a Mort fleet and just one of those, and prep out as many of the ships as you can without splashing your way to 25% somehow, and then try and run it. So
you are evil.
What'd I miss?
All right.
You missed a whole lot of
We're
stuff.
talking about how to get. We're talking about how to keep Padre out of your base, and
it's easy.
And then
just pay him enough.
Yeah. And then
taking donations.
Yeah. And so the next step is Padre doesn't have one. because it hasn't been didn't participate in bounty. But let's go to the impact cruiser. Because there's only been the Javelin 2 was removed, there is only 6 ballisticals or ballistic turrets available. So the bonus isn't quite what we see with penetrative. So it's able to keep out, at this point in time, it's able to keep out the Howies. Because the deflection is much higher than the damage that can be done. But what the executioners would do is quite nasty. It's going to be dead in a couple of shots. So that's why I suggested the going the penetrative route if you do have a choice.
Yeah,
because it's
you can
going to
only
be dead.
choose one way right now. I think penetrative is the safest for bases. If you have both, if you have 6 and 8 of the penetrative, you can kind of run a mixture, and you don't even for this hull you don't even need the missile faction to kill it.
Oh, you don't even need to have 8.
Yeah, I mean I have 8, but yeah, you could have less.
Yeah, it dies. It dies really quickly. I think I called it the impacted cruiser on last Wednesday, because it was dead before it even came out, and they removed the Javelin 2s to make it a more viable hull, but it's still not a viable hull at this point in time.
And that's what amazes me, that people did bounty for this. This is the product that was released, and it's dead. I mean, I've already been hit with it. Someone already coined it and hit me. They made it to my first ship. I don't even think they made it to George's first ship. I saw a couple hits on George's base. He didn't even have a guard in, and the guy couldn't get in.
Yeah, I forgot to put that back in.
The hitter eventually gave up, and he didn't even have a guard in. So that should tell you right there that, you spent money or time or energy or, however many replica bases you had to hit to get whatever points were needed to get those hulls. And it was a waste of time. With the way that the game is set up right now, there's no point in having that. But, some people decided to coin it anyway. But,
I personally didn't get it, but I know that some people are banking on the fact that they think Kixeye is going to make a change to PvP, and that once they do, this hull will become viable, and they've already got it built and ready to go.
Well,
you
they're invited to my base. I love it best. I will pop if they flat me until I get it right.
Yeah, and I mean, but what do you think about that, Grimace? That we're supposed to look at a hull, understand it, but then be afraid that they're just going to change it in a couple of days to get things right after you chose not to get it because you thought it was broken.
They've been doing that for at least a year or more. I mean, we know it's
what
crap,
I'm saying is
you get something, and then maybe even sometimes the next day after you get it, they change the stats. Or 2 weeks later, they change the stats. And it's like, well, we need to do this to balance this and whatever. I mean, they do it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, they sure do. So which way does it go? Do they fix the hull, or do they hurt the bases? And then you piss off a big portion of your player base that have already built the ship, and you don't offer them any tokens to say, yeah, well.
So here's the thing. I mean, there are several options that they can do. I mean, the one that I think is the easiest, because it's the easiest to tune going forward, is probably the armor, right? Because the armor was clearly tuned for the turrets to be an additive stack, right, instead of multiplicative. Now, they could do that. I don't know that if I were them, I don't know that I would touch the hulls, because playing with the hulls and base values like that just has such a cumulative effect going forward. I think the other option then is maybe the turrets. Instead of doing, if they can figure out how to make the stack additive, or I don't know, make the final number come out to the same thing or some shit. Maybe that would work too, because it would be about the same thing as adjusting the armor. But then the catch is, does that have a cumulative effect going forward with the rest of the stuff that's coming out? Because we're only into 2 damage types so far. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Well, how about a simpler suggestion? How about they don't have to mess with turrets? They don't have to really mess that much with the armors or the weapons, but they put a new and powerful CIC on here that makes the vote worthwhile.
I like that idea.
That's simple. That's a simple fix to all of our tier 7 hulls, is to make a real CIC that works on the boats the way they're supposed to.
But that doesn't address anything going forward. That just addresses the now.
Why doesn't that address anything going forward?
Because you're not addressing what the base error was. The base error was the stack on the turrets.
Okay.
And that either has to get fixed on the turret side or the armor side. You can't just throw in a CIC, because then that takes up a spot of anything else they have planned. I mean, it's not like you're not designing things in a vacuum. You know what I mean?
Well, but
if you throw in a CIC, hold on. If you throw in a CIC to correct this issue, right, you're going to need that CIC going forward, which means you're not going to use any of the other CICs that they have planned.
Well, but how do you know they couldn't put those inherent benefits in the new CICs? That way you don't lose anything as far as the defense of the boat goes going forward.
So instead of fixing what the base issue is, you want to make something, you want to add to something that's already planned.
Until they identify and tell us what the error is.
They know what the error is. The error is clear. It's the stacking on the damn turrets. It's been clear since friggin' 2 months ago.
I don't have confidence that they can fix it.
But you have confidence that they can design something fresh, new, and on the spot, instead of finding an error and fixing that. I mean, that's giving them more credit than you're willing to give them already.
I like the idea of the CIC. However, I do see the point of, what is that going to take up moving forward? Because nobody knows where they're going, including them, and what they're really doing with the game. I'm sure they have it planned out, but I'm sure they had this planned out. It's just planned out poorly. So yeah, if you do throw CICs there, you would either have to adjust what's coming out down the road, and that may be more work for them. And I have a feeling they try and take the path of least resistance. I would, because that's, the least amount of work hours that I have to allocate my staff to do.
Well, the other catch, though, is that they're also going to HTML5, so they have to fix code. And, what do? Add more shit on top of the shit pile, or do you start digging the shit out a little bit at a time as you come across it to get ready for the switch?
Is there any or chance that they have already taken that in consideration, and when they make the switch over to HTML5, that they're going to get rid of all the old irrelevant boats that have nothing to do? That way you don't have to repair the code for them. You pick a point, you say, okay.
You understand that a lot of the code is global, not specific to a hull or weapon, right?
Sure I do.
So why?
If you eliminate hulls that present the problem earlier, then you've lessened your workload.
How is the hull presenting a problem?
Maybe they have to code backwards to make sure that the other hull will still work. Whereas if that other hull is not in the game,
if they're calling from the same library, they have to fix the library, not the hull. I mean, that's how code works. You can't.
Do you know that's where the problem is?
Which problem are we talking about now?
Whichever problem you're talking about.
It depends on the problem.
You don't specify the problem.
I told you what the turret one was, right? What else do we have for an issue that because you're saying they don't fix this and that because of X, Y, or Z. Well, they have to fix it. If you just try and band-aid it and put more shit onto the ship pile.
Fix what?
Say the turrets.
I mean, I can throw the question back at you.
As I just said it. The turrets. You want to add a CIC and add more shit to the ship pile instead of actually fixing what the problem is, right?
No.
That's what you just said.
I just want it fixed. I would like to know what the problem is. You're saying it's the turrets. They haven't come out and said that it's the turrets, so I don't know what the problem is.
Anybody that can do math can figure out it's the damn turret stack. It's clear. It's been clear for months.
Yeah, I mean, Rum, you were on the show where I made the suggestion that the turret stack not be damaged in this deflection environment, where it should be reload or something else that allows one turret to stand by itself and 8 turrets being overpowerful. But it's
what happens if they can't fix the code? It was written by somebody that's no longer with the company. What happens if the people they have now don't understand the code or the library or anything? So where are we then? Do you fix it now going forward, or you say, oh, wait, we're going to go back and perfect what we screwed up 5 years ago that nobody can understand?
You can always figure out what's going on in the code and code around it, dude. It's just a matter of figuring out what you're doing.
So why not start a little closer to current where things are instead of going all the way back?
Hence the turrets. That's what I just said.
Yeah, who's going all the way back? I'm saying, they need to normalize this damage thing as far as damage being the tier 7 multiplier that's going on, and use something else that's easier to deal with in a deflection environment. Use something, like I said, like reload or splash or projectile speed or something that doesn't break the game.
These problems have been going on for quite some time.
What problems? You're going to make me specify? If you're going to make me specify.
You don't specify. You keep saying problems. I'm talking about with problems the game all the way through.
You just asked me to specify. I specified. Now you're doing the same thing. So either specify or shut the fuck up.
Nobody, I'm sorry. The guy that wrote the code is no longer there. If they understood the code and could fix it, they would have by now. But they can't, and they didn't. So we're stuck.
It's not an issue of fixing old code the way I see it.
Well, that's what George said. They got to fix the old code. We got to go back.
When did I say that? When the hell did I say that?
He's talking about fixing the armors in some way. We're talking about, as far as I can tell, everything we're talking about is just new stuff that's been added to the game in the last 6 months. Since Tier 7 was introduced. And Tier 7 wasn't that long ago. We're not going back 5 years. We're going back to the whole inception of Tier 7 turrets and the stacking bonus that they're creating within a deflection environment, not a resistance environment. That's the issue, because deflection makes it binary. Are you doing damage? Well, I consider doing 360 not doing damage. Are you doing 360 damage to somebody, or are you doing 1.1 million? And that's the problem of creating a system based on the number of turrets and how much damage that gets past deflection in one shot, in one salvo. And it's a really tricky environment to work in, and I'm surprised that they went this way, because this is not easy for them to balance, and they don't appear to be getting it correctly. In my mind, it's not about old code.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways that they can fix this, but bottom line is that's not our damn job.
No.
That's their job to fix and balance the environment. I don't understand. We can come up with a lot of what we consider great ideas, but again, I'm not a coder. That's not, my profession. I'm an exotic dancer by trade.
Only at night. During the day.
But
he's lying. He really does mule shows.
Do what? There's a lot of solutions, and I think any of those things with enough effort on Kicksai's part could be made and come to fruition and balance the game. I think either or could be done. I don't know what's easier for them. I don't know how they're going to attack the problem. I think the fact that they know that there's a significant problem, and I'm not saying that our protest of bounty was what brought that to light, Hopefully it shined more light on it, but it definitely needs to get fixed. I mean, we can all come up with ideas of how. They're going to do what they want to do at the end of the day because it's not our company. I put my play money into this. You know, if I get a little extra money, I throw it at this game for fun and relaxation. It's not my job to come up with a solution and make it work. That is Kixeye, and that's what they should be doing. And I'm hoping that they are doing that currently. So, you know, a lot of ways to skin a cat always.
I'm kind of thinking here. When was the last time we had an update that lasted like an hour long? Because I'm looking at these release notes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's
very much
like
in them,
3
yeah.
TLCs, the VXP that's not out until later on this week, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do we got in here? Like 2 corrections. So why do we have an hour maintenance?
Probably.
I don't know. I guess
they're probably looking at my base because I get a lot of tickets.
I don't know. I'm just looking at the GIF.
I'm concerned about the temperatures in Mexico and Texas.
I am not concerned in the slightest bit right now.
Hey.
Yeah. I'm assuming this is
here again.
I'm assuming this is why Trump is building the wall to keep her out.
It is pretty humid here.
Good grief.
Only 30%? I'd say it's higher.
Mm-hmm.
That ass can't be real.
I guess.
Oh, it's real.
Good Lord.
Apparently.
Pictures or I don't believe it. Someone send me pictures of that ass or it's there's got to be something like balloons in there or some shit.
A lift.
A lift, something's in there. Tied up spandex, I don't know.
Talk about isolating a muscle group.
Oh shit. Good Lord.
All right. I guess we'll go to the live updates. I'll start with the patch notes. Again, I was planning on this being more exciting, but it's not. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out why in the hell it's an hour.
Well, my thoughts would be that they were planning on putting the new dubs in there.
No, there was a post. Hold on, let me just double check. Yeah,
well, I know what the post said, but I think that was their plan, and that's why it was supposed to be an hour, right?
I don't know.
Anyway,
I mean, maybe that post was 30 minutes into the. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah, it's fairly boring update so far, at least what's been released. We're going to see the Skyfire Elite campaign one more time, the Hunter Games campaign yet another time, the Hidden Depths campaign another time, a VXP event. We're going to get more details on these as we progress. I'm just going over the overview. And 2 bug fixes. We talked about these earlier. Fix an issue where bounty defenders were not getting a bubble in certain situations. Was it not getting a bubble or getting a bubble at the wrong time?
The ones that I reported last month was not getting a bubble. Like, I mean, there was one point where I got hit, I think a total of 13 or 14 times in a row, and never got a bubble, not once.
Okay.
Well, in bounty you don't get a bubble, like you don't get the 8-hit bubble. But were they?
No. Someone came in
25.
No, someone came in, hit me like 3 or 4 times, got rid of my guard. Someone else came in, hit me 3 times, and got rid of everything up front. You see my base. All that first section was gone. So all they had was the back, and they actually successfully pinched and got in and flattened me. So I was completely dead, and I was like, no bubble, fuck it, I'm going to hit for some bounty. I hit for some bounty, which made me, of course, worth something. So someone else came in and hit me, and flattened me because, you know, I had a dead base and still didn't get a bubble. So, you know, and then there was that other guy that hit me, you know, 7 times in a row, and I got like 52% damage and still didn't get a bubble. I mean, it didn't matter. Like the last 2 days, I could not get a bubble, which wouldn't have been bad this bounty, but well, it wasn't that bad last bounty either.
I do like the bug fixes section. I wish they would include a known bug or known issues section so that at least the player base would know. Although that would probably be too long of a post.
I was going to say, this is where you cue the Jack Nicholson. You can't handle the truth.
But you know, there are a lot of bugs in the game, and fleet repair tokens not working. You know, hey, that's great, but what about the other 200 bugs that we have going on? Do you guys know about them? Could you at least post up like maybe the top 10 that you guys are going to be focusing on over the next month? It would be nice to know that you guys know that it's broken. Again, speaking to Kixeye. If they would post up, hey, look, this is what we know is messed up. These are our priorities for this month. These are what we're going to have fixed. You know, tentatively, they can put that in there because, you know, plans change, and they're not always able. You can't always get to everything. But I'd like to see that amended in these posts to a degree to include known bugs, or at least like a top 10 that they're looking at.
Yeah, I mean, that would make sense. And, you know, we've been asking for that. We used to ask for that for a while, but they don't seem to want to show it because it's,
well,
they haven't given
have
a
to be
reason.
Exploitable bugs. They can just be, you know.
Well,
Yeah,
why haven't they told the player base? Why haven't they told the player base that pretty much everything they show as additive is actually multiplicative?
Oh yeah, you mean about the stat boxes being completely wrong? I think that should be up there in the top 10 listed. Own
Yeah,
up to
I
it
think it should be in the
and
top
start working on a
3.
fix.
Yeah.
I think that'd go a long way towards player trust. If Kixeye would actually own some of their mistakes, post them up and say, look, we know this is messed up. We're working on it. Tentatively within the next month, we'd like to have a fix. I think that would go a long way towards gaining player trust. Because right
No, I
now,
agree.
most people feel like they just ignore the problems, whether they're working on it or not. You know, I don't work at Kixeye, so there may be people that are working furiously on fixing these things, but as a someone in the community, I don't see that, and so I don't know that they're doing it, and so I don't think that they are.
Okay.
I mean, the communication and transparency definitely have to be worked on. I mean, I don't think anybody can argue against that. I mean, damn, that's been just lacking.
I'm just saying that in hopes that someone is listening.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, the thing is this kind of started because we, you know, a lot of us remember a certain colorful bearded gentleman that was much more vociferous in the community, and that kind of waned. And now I mean, because I don't want to start Hefe on any rant or anything, but the last CM was probably part of that issue. So now we have a new CM, and I don't know that he has the context to know how it used to be. But at least he's trying. I mean, I see the Rampage report stuff, right? I've heard that he actually has reached out to several players that aren't in any of the, you know, groups or this or that and stuff like that. He's on the forums, which is surprising given past history of CMs. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, I don't know where in the hell what to think at certain points for some of the stuff because it's I don't know. It's just it's not what some of it's not what we expect. Some of it's like the same old song and dance, and it's I just think that they have got to work on getting a good foundation for communication with the player base because right now we're all floundering.
Yeah, and I agree with Padre. If they showed like we're working on this and we understand this is an issue, I think it would help the player base to get in line with it. Understand what their problems are, because we see them and we see that like you said, that they're being ignored, and that's driving a lot of players away because the lack of communication makes us think that they know way better than we do, and a lot of these people involved don't even have the history with the game, as you mentioned, that a lot of the players do. Some of the players have been playing for 8 years, and you're around for 6 months, and you know it all, and we're right. I mean, they need to show, okay, this is an issue we're working on. I mean, just bring back the whip. I mean, that's plain and simple. A long whip explaining everything, explaining the issues and whatnot, I think would help the player base immensely to feel. I'm not even sure what the word is, but feel. Does
Engaged.
anybody know? Well, engaged with them, but feel like that they're working towards something, as opposed to just random crap showing up one day and not understanding it. That like we're working on this. It's like something to look forward to. As an example, the PPP situation. If they said, okay, we're working on balancing this out, besides saying, it favors the bases too much, that's not true. I mean, favoring the bases, yeah, if you have the right base, it favors the bases too much. But it favors the attacker too much if you don't have all the tech.
Right.
Sort of an open, honest conversation to have with the player base. So I don't know. Should we go to the VXP event?
You guys can actually have to bounce. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Hey, take care.
All good.
Everybody have a good evening. Have fun on the VXP weekend, and good luck and good night.
Why are we having another VXP weekend?
Yeah,
Later,
do they
George.
normally do that after bounting? I thought it was just
No.
raid, and you used your VXP tokens.
They've done this at times. I mean, the only reason I can think that this is getting put in, the good reason I think, is for players to test their mana cores and understand how to. What?
I can think of another reason.
Well, if you're assuming because people are going to coin stuff, a lot of people don't even have anything to rank up.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the situation for a lot.
I think they're trying to find every little avenue of revenue, and I think that people killing their ships if they didn't get something ranked, every little bit helps. You know what I'm saying? Somebody said a penny saved is a penny earned, but so is a penny spent. So I think that has a part to play in this. Personally, again, no founders, just my 10.
Well, yeah, it's a win-win for them. I mean, it's because I've been requesting that they put the targets back on the water so people can try and tune their ships. I wanted it to be a titanium target out on the map, but what they're doing here is they're putting one of the new raid targets, or one of the current raid targets, out on the map so people can understand how they work and try to figure out the best way to build their fleets. And if that's the reason they're doing it, I guess it works. It works. I mean, I would prefer to have something on the map all the time. But yeah, a lot of people don't have stuff to rank up. I'm not sure they're going to rank up their impact cruiser this way. But it gives players a chance to interact with the new target and the new dynamic of the target. And who knows if they've actually made changes, because we had a lot of confusion. Yeah, we've had a lot of confusions over the countermeasures, so maybe this will fix that. I don't know.
I don't know if it's confusion over the countermeasures or just the countermeasures are not really working.
Well, we're confused because, yeah, you're right. We're confused because they're not working properly. And as I mentioned on the last show, there's been responses from customer support that they weren't working correctly. So now the player base as a whole can interact with these targets and be like, we might see some new videos like, okay, well, now the phalanx is working as before. The sprint was the best solution. Maybe we're going to find something different. Maybe this is the revamped targets or the revamped mechanics within these targets that we'll get a chance to see, experiment with, and make better decisions on our builds for the upcoming raid. So,
Yeah, I'm almost
I don't know.
Finally.
Okay. All right. Let's see what else we got. The rest of it's just old TLCs. Does anybody have any interest in one versus another? Skyfire Elite, Hunter, or Hidden Depths? Or any interest in them at all?
I mean, I think we've gone over these a bunch of times over multiple shows. My question is kind of, why are they bringing these back out again? And I mean, I understand people. There's still people that don't have these ships that are still trying to get caught up and stuff. I understand that. I just like, especially with the new dubs coming out. You know, is that so you can maybe use these in the co-op version of the dubs? Or is it just a catch-up mechanic? Like what is the reasoning? You know, is there any reasoning, or is it just that they're running them again to run them again?
Well, I'm showing the Skyfire Elite. I mean, I guess since this is a assault raid cycle, if you don't have the mana core, the next best thing is the Skyfire or Phoenix. And, you know, in the first prize pack, using garrison fleets, you can get the carrier, the Banded Hornet, and the UAV target circuitry. Next level up UAV, the Ballistus. 2 days of build tokens. You know, maybe it's just build tokens and whatnot. I mean, it sort of makes sense for, you know, because we talk a lot about what are the lower level players, and this is, you know, it's a catch up mechanism, like you mentioned, as far as I can tell. We've got a Hidden Depths next. Sorry, we don't have slides, everybody. They didn't release this until the show was ongoing. Fangtooth. Oh, we got here. Oh my, we got a lot of build tokens. 6, 13, 3 days of skirmish build tokens.
Is that for the Fangs?
Yeah. Oh, and then 1 day, so we got 25 days worth of Fangtooth build tokens.
Probably going to have to scrap those after you get those tokens, though, to make room for all the proto fleets you got to build. So, you know, then you can.
That is a possibility.
You know, and I know they're trying to well, never mind. That went out the window. I was going to say they're trying to slow down the content that we're getting, which is not really the case anymore. But instead of having like 3 of these old TLCs, it would be cool if they did like 2 old TLCs and then maybe a newer one that doesn't have maybe critical tech in it, but has something we can get, maybe some sort of tokens or something for people who've already done these 1,000 times, just to give us something to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, because aside from the VXP this week, what is there really for us to do aside from chores, which are not fun?
Well, even the VXP, I think, is more about, because I don't have anything to rank up. Maybe my chameleons. But, yeah, there's not much I have to rank up at this point in time. I'm not sure. I look.
Well, I mean, people that got the brand new ballistic hull, maybe they're going to rank those up instead of using their Conqueror tokens. I mean, who knows? But I mean, they could have put something in there for people who, you know, who have all this.
Yeah. Yeah. And how many hunter tokens do we get? 1 day plus 3 days. Yeah. Not as many tokens in the hunter version. So, yeah. It's older stuff. I just don't. We did have a big plan to make the update exciting, but it wasn't that exciting, so I didn't go that route. You know.
Oh, and let me say, with my comments earlier, I wasn't saying that they shouldn't be running these, because I think they're very important to have for people to get caught up that don't have this text still.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't like complaining about it or anything. I was just wondering if there was anything with the timing of it coming out at the same time that the new dubs were supposed to come out. So, that's all.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Are we out of stuff to talk about?
I think that's all they've given us so far.
Oh my god! Well, we can go for 3 hours. I'm just wondering if anybody has, you know.
Oh, and
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, maybe this VXP event is for you to get your proto Tideseeker holes shells built and get them out and rank them so that you can start doing the first part of the new dubs when they finally drop.
I was just going to commend myself if we were going to have a 3-hour show on wearing my Depends.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
saves time.
They've come out with different levels, right?
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know that much about them. Like, you know,
Sure you don't.
we have the, you know, the Textor raid Depends versus the normal raid Depends.
You know, I always, you know, when I had my first child, I thought when it said on the side of the diaper box, 8 to 12 pounds or whatever, that's how much it held. I quickly learned that was not accurate.
That was the size of the baby, right?
Just a word of caution. Do not wait 5 days between changes.
Potter, you got kind of quiet on us all of a sudden.
Oh, sorry. Is that better?
Much better. Thank you. I haven't been given permission to speak yet from Serena or Twisted or George, so I've just been quiet.
From who? Who's Serena? Like Williams?
No. Yeah.
Love that girl. Come back
go
to
ahead.
us, Rum.
And
Come
you're
back to us.
Quiet again. You're quiet again.
Who? I'm quiet again?
Yeah, you got better
Well, I'm
again.
going to stop that. Is this better?
Yeah.
Well, now I feel like I'm yelling. I'm not even mad.
Oh, hey, just wait. I'll get that way.
I'm not even mad. All right. Well, I'll project my voice.
Yes. Enunciate.
If that's better for you.
Well, I couldn't hear you.
Let me practice my Pirates of Penzance.
Oh boy, here we go.
Nope, no, we're not going to sing that. I will not put anyone through, you know, my merry model of a modern major. Never mind.
Okay, Ron, did you have something you wanted to discuss?
No, just hanging out. They don't want me to talk, so I'll be quiet.
I don't know who Serena is, but I want you to talk. Unless
these are the voices in his.
Unless you're just going to tell me I'm quiet.
In his head. These are the voices in his head. They're, you know.
No,
Go ahead, Ron.
They're from chat.
Chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not. Okay. I'm not watching the chat, so I don't know. I try not to. My self-esteem couldn't handle it.
Yeah, I think mine took a beating. So
I read the Hammer Time once, and everybody didn't like me, so I felt I felt really bad, and I carved into my arm.
I see. Carved. You're a carver, a cutter.
Really okay. So, yeah. No, I think we're out of things to discuss game related.
Okay. Well, I can post a link. I mean, you know, I've just seen Rum because Rum's back and forth on what he wants to talk about. I'm going to post a link on the right-hand side in case somebody would like to join us for the after show or join in the next couple minutes. Anything you want to say on the show? And then we'll proceed to the after show. And, there you go.
Rum wanted to
Because I
have
don't
the
have much
closing.
else. You want to have the closing? Okay.
Yeah, I want Rum to have the closing remarks.
No, I'm
Nice.
good.
Nope.
I'm good.
It's
I'm
been
fine.
no. Never mind. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's been 30 minutes since I had a rant. No, I'm okay.
You're good. You're good. No, I think he what? All right. Well, oh, there he is.
He's back.
Wrong button.
Yeah. It's the G5 button right next to my control button.
Are you pressing control to talk?
No. I just hit it by accident.
Hey, Six Pack, or I'm not sure what your name is right now. You still Six Pack?
John.
Hello,
John.
You're on with Battle Pirates Crib, John.
Okay. Well, I guess his mic isn't working. All right. Well, I guess we can end it at this point, unless anybody has any parting words. I was hoping for a more exciting update where they fixed PvP and did things like that.
There
maybe
may be
we'll learn.
excitement. Yeah.
That was kind of what I was expecting with it being down this time of the day, that they were going to do something big for us.
Who knows? I think we'll find out soon.
Maybe we'll all have pink ships when we get back in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's funny that most people aren't surprised that the new dubs are not dropping today after all.
Yeah, a lot of surprise there too.
Everybody's just kind of like, okay.
Well, that
figures.
makes you wonder. That makes you wonder if that was the reason for yesterday's delay as well.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. They probably just didn't have it ready, and then they didn't have it ready again today.
Yep.
But all good. I mean, I think it's probably a good thing because people can keep hitting dubs for the next week to get their uranium.
And even when that comes out, you'll still be able to do, unless they take away that every 3 or so days. What do you call those things that you do from your base?
Scourge blockade.
The expeditions.
Yeah, blockade. Well, no, those are boring as hell. Well, wait, no, they're not. But
well, which ones? Yeah, those are the ones that are like every few days.
Well, no, there's the other one that comes up. Like there's
Reaver Tide.
Yeah, there's a Reaver Tide.
Yeah.
Those
Scourge
ones.
blockade.
You can fill up on the Scourge blockade every couple of days. I mean, I don't roll that many crews for not hitting bases. So
I even try to avoid that when I just run into a dub and do it in a couple of minutes and then I'm full.
Well, I have proto Tide Seekers. They pretty much auto it, so
yeah, it's not like it's a hard target. It's just I find it boring and tedious.
I agree with you. Anyway. All right, guys. What
I think we lost Hefe again. He needed one more beer.
Wake up.
It was beer time.
What?
He always does this right at the end.
What, just runs away?
And gets a beer.
I like it.
And gets a beer. Yeah.
Well,
that's when you know the show's over.
Because he's gone.
Yeah. He just forgets to kill it, and we said you're talking open space.
How open? How open do you guys want me to be?
I
get it. Shut up. I got
it. What's your favorite song to do your dance to?
Well, it depends on which dance I'm doing. I've got a couple. They're all really technical.
Stairway to Heaven.
I do a lot of interpretive pole dancing.
Nice.
It's real contemporary and not really accepted in a lot of clubs, but I find that there's a small niche group of hetero and homosexuals that enjoy it. It's across the board.
Sure, I'd probably buy that for $1.
So.
Hefe?
All right. I'm gonna drop out and go eat hot wings
Okay.
because they're hot and delicious. And I will talk to you all on the next show. For those of you out there in TV land, have a good evening, and I'll see you at the next protest.
See
See
you,
you.
Padre.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for chatting. Why is he yelling?
All right. What's up, Mike?
I don't know. The game's still down. I'm out of lives in Candy Crush, so you know, fuck it. Think about putting some coin in Candy Crush. No, I'm not gonna do that.
All right.
It is still down for maintenance, though. It's like we're hour and a half, Mark.
I took all the
Yeah.
money I saved from the last couple of weeks and bought a grill.
Cool.
Kind of grill.
Did you go on them ceramic ones?
No, I didn't go with a Komodo. I went with a 4-in-1. I've been needing a way to finish or complete the sous vide, so I bought one that had an infrared searing device on it.
Hey, cool.
Nice.
They got these black rocks now for the grill surface. Did you get that?
No, not yet.
Yeah, look into that.
I wonder if
It's not a grill.
Oh, sorry,
it's
go
a
ahead.
rock. No, sorry, go.
No, I was just thinking, I wonder if their attempt to deploy the new dubs has caused them issues, and that's why this maintenance is taking so long.
It's like, oh, jeez.
Okay.
But sorry.
Hey,
Hey, he's
He's
back.
back.
No, I found something weird going. Well, never mind. We don't need to have this for public consumption,
There's
but
still some live up there in the corner, though.
okay. So
Oh,
if you'd
yeah,
like to join
actually,
us for the
Be
after,
careful. Just be
That just
careful.
made Redbeard just made me think about that. The Achilles missile that was not killing buildings at all. I wonder if they fixed that because there was nothing in the bug fixes about it. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. The Achilles missile wouldn't even kill like an oil rig on an MSC.
I saw somebody reporting that. I wasn't, sometimes the stuff you read on the internet, I wasn't sure. So, well, maybe they fixed that as well. So, in case anybody would like to join us in the after show, feel free. The link is right there. And otherwise, thanks for joining us. And we'll be back Friday and see if there's any unknown ramifications of this ongoing update. And again, thanks for showing up. And I'm not sure, I'm not sure if we're going to have a prize for the person that's our 1,000 subscriber. That's the magic number nowadays. But take care, everybody, and see you on Friday.
Good night, everybody.